Representatives of the political and business elite from all over the world are in Yerevan these days. This is the right time to receive and deliver the correct messaging. Influentials that set foot in Yerevan carry an important message. They've chosen to address global challenges in unison with Armenia. Interspersed agenda with global players for a stable region. This is the idea behind Yerevan Dialogue for the Armenian authorities, the hosts of the event. Key takeaways from Pashinyan's speech. The Armenian Prime Minister's conviction is, despite all instigation, peace between Armenia and Azerbaijan has no alternative. There is no so-called Western Azerbaijan on Armenia's sovereign territory. Once the peace treaty is signed, the Constitutional Court will consider it. If the court decides there's a discrepancy with the Constitution will undergo changes. Peace is a priority, and the possibility of peace should not be lost. There are territorial claims against Armenia in Azerbaijan's constitution, but Pashinyan's approach is that the peace agreement will address them. That's why the Armenian authorities do not raise the issue. The proposal to connect Azerbaijan with Nakhichevan is on the table. It's a crossroad of peace. Sovereignty of states should be respected when unblocking communications. What do influentials make of the possibility of peace in the region? Let's walk into the studio. Recently in Baku, you stated that you have good faith in stability in the region. You said that the region is moving towards an inspiring and powerful peace. There's a lot of internal criticism inside the country when it comes to peace. Many believe that a piece of paper, I'm referring to the draft of the peace treaty, even if signed, will not result in actual peace. What's your good faith based on?
Let me start saying the following. One of my inspiring figures in the peacemaker was an important person that broke the agreement of the so-called Oslo Accords. I'm referring to Shimon Peres. He said that pessimists and optimists die in the same way. The only difference is how they live. In that sense, all the people that we work on the peace field and also good offices and mediation, we need to be very positive. There's no pretend that we are blind to the world. We are living in a difficult times. The level of conflicts in the world, it's the highest since the end of the Cold War in 1989. We have conflicts in everywhere, and this is the reality, but does not prevent us to be optimistic about what is happening in this region.
I think the Armenian government has made it clear many times that they are ready for peace. Prime Minister Pashinyan, in a double tweet on X, stated that he's ready to sign the peace treaty, but you've been to Baku recently. Do you see the political will there to do the same?
I think the statement delivered by both the Prime Minister of Armenia and also the President Aliyev from Azerbaijan about the peace treaty, I think is an important landmark after 35 years of conflict. But the problem is not only the signature of the agreement, as I say in Baku. The challenge is the implementation of this agreement. We have many examples, for instance, and research about most of the agreements signed among the parties always remain 7 years after their signature. And among them, the 35%, they don't have an implementation body to implement these agreements. In that sense, I think this is really one of the big challenges of this peace treaty. But for that reason, depend on the good faith of the parties to implement. And the sustainability of the agreement is one of the big concerns and the big challenges for the future.
And still, the preconditions keep building up. Do you see this as a constructive way of going about the implementation of a possible peace treaty?
There were another important agreement, the so-called agreement about the border, between the Armenian and also the Azerbaijan border. Today, the Prime Minister of Armenia, he have already told to the public, released to the public about the advancements and also the challenges about the delimitation borders between the both countries. And this is adopted in 2023. And later, the peace agreement. And I think I find the people, and we need to hear the people on the ground. And this is what we are doing, peace, to be on the ground and hear the people that they want peace. The benefit of peace is much higher than to be in conflict and war.
A peace treaty, even if signed, is only a lubricant, a starting point for economic growth and infrastructure. As you know, our borders are not open with Azerbaijan and Turkey. Again, did you see the political will to unblock Armenia's logistics?
I think one of the big announcements of the government of Armenia is the so-called crossroad of peace. This is the contribution of Armenia to the peace-building process in the South Caucasus. It's based in three main principles. The principle of open borders, unblock infrastructures, and strengthen the ties in the field of culture, education, and the political arena between the parties. I think this is an important step forward. And trade and peace are always connected. And we need to go to the history of, for instance, of GATT, the General Agreement on Tariff and Trade, adopted after the Second World War. And after the adoption and the creation of the World Trade Organization in 1995, the connection between peace and trade is there. And recommend an important book produced by the World Trade Organization about trade for peace. In that sense, the economic ties between the parties and this announcement is fundamental, because for having a sustainable peace agreement, one of the conditions, apart from many others, is the economic growth. It's the creation of jobs. It's the connectivity through maritime lines, railways, motorways, airways, pipelines. This is the reality. Always connection between trade and peace.
As you know, Baku has set forth the idea of Zangezur Corridor, which is basically an extraterritorial corridor aimed at connecting Azerbaijan with its enclave Nakhchivan. Armenia offers, as you mentioned, the project of the Crossroad of Peace. Which one do you support? Which one do you believe is more inclusive? Which one brings Central Asia closer to Europe?
Yeah. One of the main ideas and the main purpose for the sustainability of all the peace agreement is inclusivity. And I think the proposal, as I say, of the Crossroad of Peace, it's an important step forward in the promotion of these ideas on peace, based on trade. What you refer about the corridor should be also part of this global concept of peace building in the region, in order to connect this region of Azerbaijan, the region, it's, if you correct me, Nakhchivan, through the south region in Armenia to Azerbaijan. I think should be inclusive in order to get more and a peaceful concept, and a peaceful process in that region.
To sum up, a vibe of expectancy hangs in the air. A move towards stability on the one side and a tendency to squeeze the most on the other. One way or another, the die of the peace process is cast.